You know, the whole idea of Christian nationalism is when you force people to believe in what you believe, and if you don't, you either get stoned, hanged, beaten, put into prison, etc., etc. This is LGBT gay pride nationalism at its core. Alright, so there's this, okay, so I have a friend from New Zealand, okay, and his name is Lincoln Russ. Now, he goes out into the streets and he preaches the gospel. Talks about testimony, he talks about the work of the Holy Spirit, he does live streams, he does all that type of stuff, that fancy stuff, okay? So, recently, there was a Rosie Parker, alright, that has went to New Zealand, to Auckland, to, I guess, speak against the trans ideology. Most likely, I don't really know who she is, but I can guarantee you she's probably going to bring up transitioning children is wrong. So she was probably going to bring that up. So let's be honest. What do you expect? I'm on a website called Stuff. Funny little name. Stuff. Just Stuff. That's about it. Just Stuff. Stuff. Okay. Good name. So this was uploaded, Auckland Reporters, March 25th, 2023. So we're going to read this. We're going to give my intake on this, and we're just going to respond to this because I think this is ridiculous. And to be very honest, let's be honest. This shows the true character of the true Marxist or communist or actual Nazis. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word, but I guess we are. But let's read this, okay? Stuff. There we go. Boom. Stuff. Anti-trans activist Rosie Parker leaves country after chaotic Auckland rally. Controversial anti-trans activist. I'm just gonna say Parker. I'm just gonna say Parker. Activist Parker is fleeing New Zealand after chaotic scenes at her rally in Auckland on Saturday. And I guess she was gonna do something on Sunday too. And my friend was actually gonna go and see it too, to be in person and to go there and in support of this stuff. Of what she's doing is pushing against the whole trans movement. A source on the ground confirmed Parker, also known as Rosie Parker, had checked in for an international flight departing on Saturday evening from Auckland International Airport when Stuff called Parker to ask whether she was leaving New Zealand. She refused to give any information about her travel intentions, saying she did not trust the media, which, I mean, it's kind of obvious. Why would you trust the media? I wouldn't be telling anyone my plans, which is smart. Don't do that. Parker's sudden departure means her Wellington rally scheduled for Sunday will not go ahead. I wonder why, and this actually mentions it. Earlier, Parker told Stuff she was frightened after she had juice doused on her prior to speaking at her Auckland event, which drew significant crowds believed to be in the thousands, mainly consisting of trans rights supporters. I've never seen anything like this, Parker said. What a shameful day for New Zealand. She has speaking engagements in Auckland and Wellington this weekend as part of her Let Women Speak tour. See, this is... Can I make the graphics better? I don't think I can. Wow. Whoever took this photo. Look at this. Not usually a sign guy, but geez. Okay, that's kind of like... So you got all these people coming together to protest against her. Such bad graphics. Holy crap. Look at that guy. What is this guy? This guy's like a photographer and flicking people off. Oh! They stop it! They stop it! So the protesters are behind the line, okay? And they're supposed to stay that way, I guess, for the press and to keep the event safe. So whoever set this event up did a horrible job to keep people separate, because watch this, and they pause it here. This is probably something they're not going to show, and I would like some footage. So if anybody has footage on this, please send it to me. I'll put my email down below. But look at this. They just start to rip the line. They're going to go and they're going to march past it, and they skip it. They skip the part. Look at this. That's it. They're going to get rid of it. Oh, they paused it. Why? 7 security guards were near Parker, and small pockets of police were on the fringe of the crowd before intervening and helping her through the crowd and into a police car. Police have been criticized by Speak Up for Women and the Free Speech Union for not doing more. They should have done more. If you honestly think that these little... Here's the thing. This should have been controlled more. This is chaos. This is lawlessness. This is evil. You know, this is no self-control. Let's be honest. You got a guy flicking people off. What are they saying? Let's see. Let's hear. Trans rights are human rights. Got people throwing stuff. Look at that. Someone threw something. So even the other side is just reacting to all of this. It's lawlessness. pink-haired demons. Look at that. This is who we're taking advice from. This is who we're taking advice on. The church has failed so badly. Jeez. Police said no arrests had been made. So she's literally being just... Do you think it'll be worse in Wellington? At Albert Park on Saturday, Parker was due to speak. A small fight broke out as Parker made her way through the barricade. Parker was escorted out of the Albert Park shortly before 11:30 a.m. as crowds booed at her. Her hair was red after being doused in tomato juice, earlier reported as paint. So they had either tomato juice or paint poured on her or thrown on her. This is the tolerant, love is love, accept everyone the way they are people. This is them. I want her to know that her words are blood. Wait, protester Eliana told One News she had dropped a liter of juice on the controversial speaker because it represents the blood of our people. Do you know what causes violence? Is acting like animals. This is what causes violence. This is what causes people to get hurt. Is throwing stuff, you know, pouring stuff onto people. When people like to say we gotta stay calm, we gotta stay peaceful, that's good. But when you start throwing stuff at people and then somebody gets hurt, these people will justify their actions due to the fact that they say that our people get hurt. But they don't care if other people get hurt. It's funny to see this. I wanted to know that her words are blood, but their actions are gonna cause people for their own people to spill blood. But it's justified because she's gonna speak and they don't like her when she speaks. A staff reporter at Albert Park said from the moment Parker entered the barricade, tension between the groups separated by a ring of barricades started to boil over. So here, I guess they have the actual silence Brit. They got whistles here. Okay, so this is what they do. If they don't like someone who speaks, they blow the whistle, they don't let them be heard, etc. So they're silencing people. They don't believe in freedom of speech, but they're silencing people by blowing whistles because they think that works. Silence Brit. TERFs threaten my daughter. Trans women don't. No TERFs, no Nazis, no hate. Okay, no Nazis. Let's look at this. Nazis didn't believe in freedom of speech. You spoke against them, you were either taken away or killed. No Nazis, no hate. No Nazis. But at the same time, whistles. You have people flicking the cameras off and pouring stuff onto people, causing violence. You got someone with a pan making a lot of noise and disruption. This is lawlessness. A group of 4 security guards formed a human shield around her for 10 minutes as the crowd slowly pressed forward. Several men wearing skull-adorned face coverings were amongst those helping Parker. One of them was wearing a badge that appeared to be associated with a far-right militant group. So, where's that picture then? I want to see if they have that picture. It was then that security made a rush with her through the crowd to get her out of the park. In a live stream on Parker's YouTube channel, it appeared she was being escorted away from the park in a police car if she could be taken to the police station. Do you think it'll be worse in Wellington? Maybe it's time we say we can't do it. King. So Parker's supporters were also escorted out of the park by police. So even her supporters, people who supported, you know, wanted to come and see her speak, were escorted out of the park by police. Some reported visibly shaken and clutched the hands of police. This is in New Zealand. Some supporters told police to do their job. One counter-protester told Stuff Parker was not welcome in New Zealand. Trans rights are human rights. Something like this is unacceptable. I have friends from all communities are always welcomed. So I want you to see this. This is not freedom of speech. This is chaos. This is lawlessness. This is the definition of Marxism at its core. This is what we're against. So I want everyone to watch this. She has a crowd of police officers around her just to get out, and they're being followed by a bunch of animals behind her holding up trans rights or human rights. She's being followed by people, feminine men, who cannot, none of these people can probably even hold an argument at all. You say one thing, they yell at you, they blow a whistle at you, they flick you off, they hold pots and they bang them so you can't be heard. These are Marxists, these are communists, these are people who say, if you don't support us, we're gonna shut you down. That is not freedom of speech. You got bullhorns. All we've been hearing so far is that the LGBT community in New Zealand and trans rights activists are nothing more but Marxist, communist, anti-free speech protesters. That's what I got from this. You know the best way to go against somebody that you disagree is that you don't shut them down, you don't throw stuff at them, You actually talk to them. You debate with them. You argue with them. Okay, you actually sit down and you have a conversation with her and you see what you actually disagree with, and let's see who's right. Let's see who can back up their their facts. I can't be prouder of the rainbow and ally community for getting out to show solidarity for our trans community and really standing against transphobia. It became very clear today that she isn't welcome. Nobody wants to hear anti-trans messages in our country. My kids, my choice. So let's look at this. My kids, my choice. We say no to relationship and sexuality education in school. So these are the people who supported her, right? So these are people who supported her. So these are people who supported her, who followed behind her. We say no to relationship and sexuality education in school. Let parents parent. My kids, no secrets. So these people here, they want transparency. Same thing that we're actually fighting for in Florida here in Sarasota County. We are fighting for transparency. We want parents to have the right to know what these kids are learning. They want to have the right to know what their kids are doing in school, what the teachers are pushing on them, what they're watching, what kind of field trips they're going on. Because we got this whole thing called Embrace Our Differences that really push really bad art pieces, okay? These art pieces are biased. They don't pick these art pieces because of how good they are. They push them because of the agenda and the culture that's being pushed out. So they push things that promote, well, if you're not for LGBT, well, you're transphobic. They push out things like, if you're not for two guys kissing, then you're just a bully. They have that. So these people want transparency. These people want to know what their kids are going into school and learning. Police recognize right to protest. A police spokesperson said the role of police at events like this was to ensure safety and uphold the law, while recognizing the lawful rights to protest. Police were at Albert Park this morning monitoring the event and the counter-protest. As soon as it became clear there was a potential safety risk to the event speaker, she was escorted from the area by police staff. However, Jonathan, chief executive of the Free Speech Union, said the police appeared to have taken a deliberate hands-off approach. So in other words, these people that were protesting Parker were getting violent. Were getting very hostile, and the police should have stood there. I think that the police at these type of rallies, the police need to form a line. You are to protect the person that's coming. If you really truly believe in freedom of speech, you have just lost. You lost. You failed. You let the protesters win, and you shut down an event due to the violence that was rising or the hostility that was rising at that event. You lost. The police should have formed a body barrier between the speaker and the protesters. The moment that somebody throws something, they should have got up and they should have told the protesters, move back. My first question is, how close were they to the event? If they were really close, why were they that close? If we all knew that this event was going to spark some really hatred people, why were they allowed that close to the event? Why was there only string up to separate them from the event? We are calling on the organizers of the counter-protest to join us in condemning today's intimidation and violence. The Free Speech Union condemns violence and intimidation. Parker was allowed to go into the country even though the immigrations minister apparently said that inflammatory, vile, and incorrect worldview, that Parker had this type of worldview, incorrect worldview. The whole idea is that now we got people in power that should have never let Parker in because they had a worldview that did not match theirs. This is what, okay, so you know the whole idea of Christian nationalism is when you force people to believe in what you believe, and if you don't, you either get stoned, hanged, beaten, put into prison, etc., etc. This is LGBT gay pride nationalism at its core. Is when they force you to believe in what they believe, and if you don't, they will protest and riot and shut you down and throw stuff at you. They are the nationalists. The Christian community, allowing them to practice sin and be in sin, but just tell them the gospel and not shutting down people. Okay, if you're shutting down an event based on, you know, the worldview that they live, then you are a nationalist. Let me give you an example. When the Venice Pride Parade or festival happened, I didn't go there and want it shut down. They have every right to go there and pride around and dance around and do what they do, okay? But there's some moral obligations that we are to hold up. Like one, stripping and dancing on poles and grinding on each other in front of children, and having the kids corner right next to where these drag queens were literally dry humping each other. That is morally wrong. That's disgusting. If they had the event and they were not performing those sexual acts out in public in front of children, then they have every right to do what they want to do. If they have barricades up so the public could not see it, so children walking by the event did not see it. If it was a private event, then they have every right to do it. I did not go to the Venice Pride Festival to shut them down. I went there to share the gospel. I even walked in, okay? So I'm not shutting people down. They are the ones wanting people to get shut down because we will not submit to their worldview. Urgent court action was then taken by 3 groups from the rainbow and transgender community to try and revoke that order. What are you guys' comments? I want to hear it. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I think this is utter bullcrap. I don't think this should have ever happened. She has the right to speak and talk, even if the LGBT and transgender activists disagree. There are civil ways of doing this, and one is having a conversation and talking. And I don't know if she allows people to comment or ask questions at the end. But when that usually happens, they still deny it. They usually don't want to, or they yell at her and they disrespect her, which shows who the true Marxists and communists are. Because if you're not for freedom of speech, and that even means letting someone you don't like speak, then you are the problem. You are the nationalists.